I guess I should start recording it. So the first packet sent out, you have a client and a server. And the server being the DHCP. So who sends the first packet out? Step 1. That's a really beautiful one right there. And it's not a sync packet. So client or server, which one sends the first packet? Or frame?
Server.
Client.
We had a verbal server, and then we got a couple of people in chat going client. There's more people saying client than server, and client would be correct. So what is the first packet? What does the client send? And it starts with a D. And some of y'all are not unmuting long enough to, I think, are speaking, unmuting at the same time. So I got to hold the unmute down and then talk.
A DHCP packet?
Yeah, it's a DHCP packet. What? There's several different DHCP packets. I want to know which DHCP packet sent first.
DHCP Discover.
Yay, Sean has Discover. I'm going to abbreviate it. Discover. So DHCP Discover packet is sent to the server. What does the server offer or send back? And I already Freudian slipped or something the answer.
Offer.
Yay. Sean's going to get bonus points. And the offer is sent back to the client. Now the client, there could be more than one DHCP server on the network. The client might possibly receive more than one offer if that is the case. So since the client can receive, that's packet number 2 right there. Packet number 3 is going to come from the client. So Andrew says not fair. Well, what does the client now send? And does your mic not work, Andrew? Apparently not. Yay, Brian's got the bonus point. Request. Okay, there's not really big bonus points, but I kind of do remember who answers questions, especially when all the companies are calling on, hey, who's a good student for us to hire? So DHCP request, and this DHCP request is typically generated based upon the very first offer that it receives. Even if it received 10 offers, the first one that came in is going to request to use that offer. And that request is sent back to the server. And what does the server do as the last?
Acknowledge.
And we have a quick answer on that one. We got people wanting jobs and money for some reason. Acknowledge. So the acknowledge packet is sent back to the client, and the client starts using the address. Cool. Yay, internet. Trust me, that says internet. So now we move into something completely different. We move into lease time. What does lease time mean?
The amount of time that the DHCP IP address is leased before it goes back into circulation.
Very good. So the amount of time that the client's allowed to use the address and before that it goes back into circulation so the DHCP server could give it to another client. Did you realize that there's multiple lease times? And there's actually time 1. Has anybody studied T1 and T2? That doesn't look like a 1, but there's a 1. And there's a T2. Has anybody studied T1 and T2 times? I don't know that Cisco goes over this. I don't know that the book in Linux went over this, but it is a thing. So does anybody remember? And no is probably your answer. I'm not seeing any response in chat or hearing anybody, so I'm thinking probably I don't remember anything about tea time. And
It's a no.
not golf. So most Microsoft DHCP servers, not all DHCP servers, but quite a few of them, they have 8 days. So you have day 1, and you have day 4, and you have day 8. I love Microsoft Paint. Even though I have a whiteboard with Zoom, we can't give up Microsoft Paint. So T1 is actually 50% of the lease time. %, not 50 cents, but 50%. So at that time, the client is happily using its IP address that was given by the DHCP server. Jeremiah joined us. Yay. But at day 4, it Day 4 is actually, really probably should have drawn this a little bit differently. Probably a little bit more sense if I draw it like this. So that right there is really T1 time. That's the 50% mark. At that time, the client will request the address again. Basically a renew. It's a request or renew is basically what it's going to ask. Very similar to a request, like, hey, I want to use this this IP address again. Can I release it? I want to renew the address. So that's in general what that it does, request or a DHCP renewal. So if the DHCP server is up and running and can respond, then guess what happens? Anybody? Should be an easy answer.
It's least again.
So it kind of broke up, but I think you probably said that the lease time starts over and it goes back to day 1 after that is approved. Well, neat. T2 time. T2 time is in an 8-day cycle. It's a day 7. And if you divide that out, that's 87.5% of the total time. Does anybody know what happens at that point in time? So I get an answer of no. At that point in time, this section here really it's decided that well, let me draw this part out. So during this part here, from T1 to T2, the DHCP server is going to try to renew its lease. And I'm pretty sure that the interval is 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, it's going to try to communicate with the server and renew its lease time. However, when it hits T2 time, not your break after nine holes and you're going on to the next 9 holes of golf, but T2 it starts what's known as a rebinding process. So from the period where it's in orange, it is now going to go back to DHCP discover operation. So I should circle that at orange. So at T2, it tries to rediscover from anybody. It's thinking, I've tried continuously from day 4 to day 7 to renew my IP address, and I've not received a response. So at this point in time, I've got a day left that I can use my address. 24 hours, as long as you're using 8 days as the lease time, the default. So from day 7 to day 8, it is now going to start sending broadcast out to get a new address from anybody, thinking maybe the DHCP server changed its IP address, or maybe a new DHCP server is put on the network. So from day 7 to day 8, it's going to continue about every 5 minutes, attempting to get a new address lease or a brand new address from any other server. If no server responds, what happens at day 8?
You no longer have internet.
Your audio's too choppy. Did anybody get that?
You no longer have internet.
You no longer have internet. Yes. Your end users go into a rage and start a murderous rampage and destroy all of the computers in the company. Okay.
Is that what happens when the internet stops working?
Day 8. Actually, a PIPA happens. A PIPA. What's a PIPA? Anybody? Y'all should definitely know what a PIPA is.
It's the one that assigns the 169.254 address, isn't it?
169.254 dot question dot question. Yep. Automatic private IP address. And that is a part of the TCP/IP protocol. And that when DHCP is no longer working, you don't have a statically assigned address, and the computers will try to automatically assign them an address so that they can work in a work group style setting. So a PIPA means that a computer drops its DHCP address that can get out to the internet or talk normally, and then it just randomly chooses 2 numbers between 1 and or 0 and 255, throws them into this address. As long as it's not 255, 255, it throws it into that address. And I think it can even do 255, 255, I think, but it probably not. And then it pings that address, waits for a little bit, nobody responds, then it goes ahead and assigns it the address. If a ping comes back, then it knows some other computer randomly chose the exact same address, and it randomly chooses 2 more numbers, pings it until it doesn't receive a response, and then it assigns itself the 169.254, whatever it randomly chose. And Microsoft client machines normally will start broadcasting the computer name out across the PIP address. If anybody else has an PIP address, they will learn about each other. And and they will be able to view each other under network neighborhood settings, and you can send files back and forth between computers. There's no router, there is no internet. And most of the time it is kind of difficult to find people on the network because there's no DHCP. It's just broadcasting computer names across if that's available. And your end users are angry. Oops, that's not red. That's an angry user.
She looks cute when she's mad.
And they're coming at you with a pitchfork.
Looks more like a rake.
Pitchfork. And along with the pitchfork, they also have marshmallows on a stick that's on fire. And they will come and attack you. Okay.
Can we just take the marshmallows?
Yeah,
I
keep
like
them out.
black
On fire, so they're flaming, burning marshmallows at your head, like in the Dennis the Menace movie from probably 1990 or something. But I don't know if anybody ever seen Dennis the Menace, and the old man, he flings a burning marshmallow and lands in the middle of his forehead. But I'm old, I remember movies like that.
I actually like I like burnt marshmallows. It's like it's heaven.
Yeah, I just like them nice and brown all the way around. People get annoyed. Take a while, like to roast my marshmallow. So, and then they're
If
like,
it's not on fire, it's not getting cooked. That's what I say.
no, mine's nice and brown on the outside, and it's like so melted on the inside. You have to like put a plate under it because it falls off the stick, and it's awesome. Okay, well, that's the DHCP protocol. And there's quite a bit of detail there, but you studied DHCP in Cisco, and you studied again in operating systems class, and you're studying it again in LAN class. So this is at least your third time that you probably run through DHCP. And now we've gone into advanced mode so that you fully understand all of the stuff that's in the back end and what happens at T1 and T2 time. And you can also understand that people can keep their same address for months or years at a time, as long as they don't go on a vacation longer than 8 days and their computer's off for more than 8 days. And then the computer is likely to keep the same address. I had web servers up and running on this campus way back in the day before they allowed static addressing, and I probably could have requested a static address, but they were kind of leery about giving them out. But I got the server running for, a year or two, and it had the same address and students could access it. And I'm not sure what happened over some summer break or something. I guess it went offline and didn't boot back up. So when fall started, we had to boot the server up. It got a new address, so all the students couldn't get to the server because, well, it got a new address. But now that we're on the 147 network, it's got the servers I have of static addressing. So that's cool, but it is quite possible that your address will be the same for long periods of time. Okay, I want everybody, you probably, well, gonna say, is anybody get an address directly from their ISP, or do you connect through your own Wi-Fi router first? Probably most everybody's connect directly to a Wi-Fi router, but how do you determine lease time? What would I type in? A command prompt. And I want you to do this on your home computer, so everybody can have something different. What would I type in to figure out my lease time? Either type it in chat. Yeah, type the answer out in chat. And the first person to get it typed out correctly has permission to get up and go get a cookie from their kitchen. But hurry back. Now, they're either slow typers. You should really know this. Especially Sean, you should know it. And probably the most well-known would be ipconfig. But actually, we got static addressing on these machines. ipconfig/all will likely be what that you would have to type in to get the lease time, because simply ipconfig, yep, Haley put it in there, is likely not going to give you that. It's just going to give you the address, subnet mask, default gateway, maybe I don't even know if it gives you the DNS servers. It's been a while since I've had issues and to look, but ipconfig/all is one method, and another method would be a PowerShell way. But if you're running ipconfig/all, and anybody tell me if you've got DHCP enabled? If you do, can you tell me how many days does it show you that? And Jared says get DHCP.
I typed it wrong, so it's lease is the last word, I think. Yeah.
DHCP server v4 lease. dash all leases, but I don't have, it's failing here because I don't have the DHCP server on this one. We will be doing labs with the DHCP server when we get in class on Wednesday, or some of us get in class. I don't like to do remote labs on Monday when everybody's Zooming.
Seems like mine for some reason obtains one every day because it says the IP was obtained on the 19th and it says it expires on the 20th.
Yep, so you've got a 1 day lease. That's common for some ISPs, especially if it's an ISP configured router, they will just have a 1 day lease time. So what your computer will be doing in 12 hours, that hits T1 or it hits T1 in 12 hours, and it'll try to renew that. So as long as your computer stays on and doesn't go into sleep mode or something, at the 12-hour mark, it will attempt to get a new address. With the 1 day lease time, it is likely that over the course of a week or two, you'll likely get different addresses as it stays running, because you're probably good chance you'll be away or asleep for over a 12-hour time period while your computer's in a sleep mode or something, and it will completely, of course, it'd have to go up to 87%, something like 20 hours or something like that, before it would try to get a new address. So 1 day, lots of ISPs use that. I think I've even seen ISPs have them down as far as an hour. But most commonly, you'll see 8 hours. 8 days. 1 day and 8 day are probably the two most common ones you'll see. Anybody else have a value other than the 1 day and 8? Any really odd, weird people out there? If your DHCP is not 1 or 8, that doesn't make you an oddball. That was a joke. Alrighty, let's see. Jeremiah showed up. Are you actually there, Jeremiah?
I'd take that as a no.
Yeah, you got respond, Jeremiah, so I can do your attendance.
Well, got to respond, Mike.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually there.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.